In this lecture, we are going to discuss anatomy of the digestive system. Number first, introduction to the digestive system. Overview. The digestive system includes essential organs that work together to break down food, allowing nutrient absorption and elimination of waste from the body. Key functions. The digestive system's primarily roles are ingestion of food, breakdown into absorbable nutrients, absorption into the bloodstream, and expulsion of waste. Main parts. Key organs include the mouth, esophagus, stomach, small and large intestines, as well as the liver and pancreas, which all support digestion. Next, gross anatomy of upper digestive tract. Mouth and oral cavity. Teeth, responsible for mechanically breaking down food into smaller, digestible pieces. Tongue, assists in the movement of food for chewing and swallowing, with taste buds that detect flavors. Salivary glands. These glands secrete saliva containing enzymes like amylase, which begins carbohydrate digestion in the mouth. Pharynx or throat. The pharynx, divided into nasopharynx, oropharynx, and laryngopharynx, guides food from the mouth to the esophagus. Esophagus, a muscular tube that connects the throat to the stomach, moving food downward through peristaltic contractions. Stomach, composed of sections such as the cardia, fundus, body, pylorus. It contains cells that release gastric acid and enzymes to break down proteins. Next, gross anatomy of the small intestine. Number 1. Duodenum, the initial part of the small intestine where chemical digestion begins, aided by bile and pancreatic enzymes. Number 2. Jejunum. This middle section is primarily where nutrient absorption takes place. Number 3. Ileum, the final segment responsible for absorbing vitamin B12 and bile salts before passing contents to the large intestine. Next, gross anatomy of the large intestine. Number 1. Cecum, the first part of the large intestine connecting to the small intestine and starting the waste compaction process. Number 2. Ascending, transverse, descending, and sigmoid colon. These sections absorb water and electrolytes from the digestive material, aiding in stool formation. Number 3. Rectum and anus. The rectum stores waste while the anus allows for its expulsion through defecation. Next, accessory organs of the digestive system. Number 1. Liver. Divided into lobes, it produces bile, processes absorbed nutrients, and detoxifies various substances in the body. Number 2. Gallbladder. Located under the liver, it stores and concentrates bile, releasing it into the duodenum for fat digestion. Number 3. Pancreas. Functions both as an exocrine gland producing digestive enzymes and an endocrine gland regulating blood sugar through insulin and glucagon. Next, microscopic anatomy of the digestive tract layers. Number 1. Mucosa, the innermost layer lined with epithelial cells, which aids in nutrient absorption. Number 2. Submucosa, supports the mucosa with connective tissue, blood vessels, and nerves. Muscularis consists of circular and longitudinal muscles responsible for movements like peristalsis and segmentation. Number 3. Serosa, the outermost layer that reduces friction between the digestive organs and surrounding structures. Next, microscopic anatomy of the stomach. Number 1. Gastric mucosa, composed of cells that produce a protective mucus layer for the stomach lining. Number 2. Gastric pits and glands contain specialized cells, including parietal cells for acid production and chief cells for enzyme secretion. Number 3. Function. Together, the mucosa and gland cells shield the stomach lining and aid in breaking down food. Next, microscopic anatomy of the small intestine. Number 1. Villi and microvilli. These structures significantly increase the small intestine's surface area for more efficient nutrient absorption. Number 2. Interstitial crypts. Crypts of Lebercon release enzymes and fluids that facilitate digestion. Number 3. Cell types. Number 1. enterocytes, which absorb nutrients from digested food. Number two, goblet cells, which produce mucus to protect the intestinal lining. Number three, Pennant cells secrete antimicrobial peptides, enhancing immunity within the gut. Next, microscopic anatomy of the large intestine. Number 1. Structure of the mucosa contains numerous mucus secreting goblet cells but lacks the villi seen in the small intestine. Number 2. Absorption and water regulation primarily absorbs water and electrolytes, aiding in the formation and compaction of stool. Number 3. Gut flora or microbiota. These beneficial bacteria ferment undigested carbohydrates and synthesize vitamins such as vitamin K. Next, we have digestive processes. Number 1. Mechanical digestion includes physical actions like chewing, peristalsis, muscle contractions moving food, and segmentation, which is mixing in the intestines. So, peristalsis is actually muscle contractions moving food, and segmentation is mixing in the intestine. Number two, chemical digestion involves enzymes breaking down carbohydrates, proteins, and fats into smaller molecules for absorption. Number three, absorption. Nutrients are primarily absorbed in the small intestine through the mucosal layer, entering the bloodstream for use by the body. Here we have a labeled diagram of the digestive system which show us different parts of the digestive system. Here we have the liver, here we have the stomach, here is the pancreas underneath, there is the gallbladder in the green color, here on the periphery is the large intestine. So, and inside the large intestine, we have the dark red color small intestine. And at the bottom, we have anal canal, rectum, and sigmoid colon, which are all parts of the large intestine.